From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your afternoon update.
Well, good Tuesday afternoon. Taylor Plott here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center with a look at your latest forecast. And we got a big change coming tomorrow, talking about our winter weather threat. But today we're dry. But of course, our big story is going to be that winter weather potential. Let's get right to your forecast. Live look first at Savannah, Tennessee, coming in at 41 degrees. And you notice there's a lot of clouds out around today. Those are those high level clouds that are moving in ahead of our next system. They'll be sticking around with us for the entirety of the day, and that won't allow our temperatures to get too much higher than what we already have right now, only getting up to about about 44 to maybe 45 degrees out there for some places. For Lawrenceburg, same situation, high clouds moving on through, a little bit cooler, coming in at 37 degrees with the east wind at 7 miles per hour. And last look on the Arctic Air Skycam network. Florence of the University of North Alabama, again, same situation, high clouds moving on through, temperatures around 40 degrees. Now, again, our big story is going to be that winter threat coming on later tonight and tomorrow. But for now, we're absolutely crystal clear on the Viper radar network. But again, once we get into the overnight hours tonight into tomorrow morning, that will start to fill in with rain, sleet, freezing rain, and even some snow out there for some places. Here's our system getting its act together. Already snowing here across parts of Arkansas, near Little Rock, Fort Smith, up to Fayetteville, even snowing into parts of Springfield, Missouri, Wichita, over down to Oklahoma City. This is what's moving in our general direction as that area low pressure continues to kind of dive its way down to the south. Will become a Gulf low, and that will just bring our chance for that winter weather potential as we go into your day on Wednesday. I'll break that down here in just a few moments. 45 degrees by about 2 to 3 o'clock this afternoon. Again, those clouds still sticking around across the area, so you need that jacket on hand. Once we get down into the evening hours, we'll see our temperatures drop back down into the 30s and then eventually get down below freezing, with clouds and some precipitation starting to move in across the area late tonight. For your forecast today, dry, a little bit of a breeze out of the northeast at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Temperatures mainly in the 40s today, 46 for Rogersville, 47 for Athens and the Shoals, 44 for Lawrenceburg. A little bit cooler off to our north, 44 and 43 in Columbia and Lewisburg. And again, we're dry today, but the focus is later on tonight. Winter weather advisories for our entire area that go into effect tonight and last through midday tomorrow. We do have a winter storm warning off to our northwest, and based on some of the trends that we've been seeing in the model guidance, there's a chance that could actually be expanded a little farther to the southeast as the models are starting to kind of pick up on probably that best zone for seeing snow across parts of Tennessee. It's going to be off to our northwest, but that actually could push down a little bit further into our area. But when it's all said and done, we're really not looking at a lot of impacts. This isn't going to be, 8, 10, 12 inches of snow. We're only talking about an inch, maybe a couple of inches, maybe a little bit more than that. So it's not a huge amount of snow, but it's definitely going to lead to some issues out there on the roadways, especially Wednesday morning. A little bit of icing, I think, is possible, especially for areas that are in that transition zone where you're going from a rain, snow, maybe some sleet, maybe some freezing rain mix. There will probably be a little bit of icing involved, but it's not going to be overly substantial. But again, all of that combined will lead to some slick spots on the roadways. So travel during the morning hours on Wednesday will probably be hazardous in some places. Now, the question is what happens during the afternoon hours. I think some of your bigger roadways, your highways, your primary roads, I think they'll start to get better during the afternoon hours regardless of how much snow you get. So if you end up getting 4 inches, I still think those roadways get a little bit better during the afternoon because the ground has been warm for a long period of time, so it should lead to a little bit of melting involved, and plus the pre-treating of the roadways will help as well. All right, let's walk it step by step with our futurecast. Again, we're dry today on the cool side, but what happens off to our west starts to move on in later on tonight. This is 7 p.m. Might start to see a few sleet pellets falling here from Henderson to Parsons. Memphis probably seeing some sleet falling. I think this initially starts off as sleet as our atmosphere cools down. and then will eventually transition all the way to snow for a good portion of the area. Midnight tonight, probably seeing some of those sleet pellets fall, maybe mixing in with some snow, then transitioning to snow probably a little bit after midnight here for Columbia down to Hohenwald, Waynesboro, Savannah, seeing some of that. Florence, Iuka, Corinth, Mississippi, probably seeing some of that action as well. Already snowing pretty good in Parsons and Henderson by the time we get to midnight tonight. Again, that transitions over to snow, and we're snow for several hours here across parts of southern Tennessee and northern Alabama. At 6 a.m., notice that transition zone is generally going to be near or south of the Tennessee River. That's been pretty locked in for the past few days now, and I still feel pretty confident that that's where that transition zone is going to be. So in that spot, you're going to end up seeing lower snow totals, but you could get some sleet accumulation, a little bit of ice accumulation. But again, we're not expecting huge issues with ice, but it will cause some slick spots on the roadways for areas down here towards the Tennessee River and a little bit further to the south. Notice our temperatures back up on the northern side of this. Fayetteville at 29, Lawrenceburg at 25, Waynesboro at 24. So we're nowhere near getting above freezing with this event. So that's why that snow idea is pretty locked in. Even though it's going to be on the lighter side accumulation-wise, there's still going to be a good amount of snow that falls from the sky on your Wednesday. By the time we get into the noon hour, we're drying out. Clouds still stick around across the area. Temperatures remain generally at or below freezing for basically the entirety of the area. There could be a few flurries on the backside of this, but it's really not going to amount to much. So whatever you end up getting snowfall-wise Wednesday morning, that's basically what you're going to end up with total-wise. These flurries will really not amount to much. It'll just be falling from the sky. It's kind of nice to see out there. That's about it. All right, this is just one model solution, but it's been trending in this direction along with some other models as well. So what we're looking at for forecasting snowfall is what makes the most sense. And I think this makes some sense. And along with some other models, it's kind of going along with this trend idea. So we'll have to keep an eye on this, but it is starting to show a little bit better snowfall potential here from Columbia down to Hohenwald and Waynesboro. So there's a chance that areas here across southern middle Tennessee could end up seeing maybe 3 or 4 inches of snow. But again, we're watching trends, and we'll have to keep seeing if this idea actually locks into place. And again, I think it makes sense. So that's why we're kind of going in that direction where the snowfall totals could be just a tad bit higher than what we were previously thinking. Still thinking Florence and the Shoals probably generally around 2 inches. And of course, once you get south of the Tennessee River, a little less snowfall is expected. So again, that's one model's idea we'll have to keep an eye on. But because things look like they're trending in that direction and it makes some sense, I think there's a good chance that there could be some areas here from Columbia down to Lawrenceburg and Savannah that might get just a tad bit more than 2 inches. So there's a chance here that you could get 2-3 inches. I still think the better totals are off to our northwest where that winter storm warning is in effect. That's where 2 to 4 inches and even higher is expected. But I think generally 1 to 2 inches with some spots that could get a little bit more than that can be expected from places near Iuka down to Waterloo, Florence, the Shoals, up towards Anderson and Lexington, the north side of Athens, up towards the Fayetteville area. And again, once you get further to the south, less in the way of snowfall amounts. But like I mentioned, regardless of what you get total-wise, whether you end up getting 4 inches here in Lawrenceburg, you end up getting 3 inches here in Florence, or even in Moulton, if you end up getting 2 inches, the impacts are still the same because the ground has been warm for a while. There will be some melting involved on the roadways. So that's why we really think the impacts are going to be primarily in the morning hours as this falls, causing some of those roadway issues. The other thing we're watching for is what happens on Thursday morning. We drop down to 15 degrees, so any water that is on the roadways, whether it's been pre-treated or not, or melted snow or whatever, any liquid that's out there will freeze once we get into Wednesday night into Thursday morning. That's going to cause some travel issues again for your Thursday morning commute, and we don't really get above freezing on Thursday. So I think your highways will end up getting better because they'll just keep treating them. But some of your secondary roads and neighborhood roads on Thursday, if they see a lot of ice in the morning, there's a good chance that you're still seeing ice for the majority of the day on Thursday. So just keep that in mind. Then we plummet again down to 11 degrees. There will be some places in Tennessee that get down to the single digits for your Thursday night into Friday morning. So definitely need to take your cold weather precautions. Talking about the 4 Ps, pets, people, ice, or ice, pipes, and just, make sure you have everything situated and covered. Those outdoor faucets, you need to make sure that those are covered. Again, bring your pets inside and make sure that you check on any elderly, that they're actually, the heat's working in their house, they're good to go, because that's going to be some really cold weather coming in on Friday morning. The good news is by Friday afternoon, we warm back up. We're above freezing, getting up to 37 degrees on Friday. And then look at that, we actually get back into the 50s and 60s by the time we get into Sunday and Monday. So the good news is, even though we're getting very cold for the next few days, it won't be lasting extremely long. There is light at the end of the tunnel. All right, that's a live look at your latest forecast. Fred Gossage will be back in later on this afternoon to give you another update as we head into your Tuesday evening. Have a great day.
I have banked with the Bank of Frank Ewing ever since they first came to Lawrenceburg in 2005. I've always been pleased with their service, and I would recommend them to anyone.